You know, when you think about something in your business for so long and you make these big plans in your head and you have a step by step, and the more you think about it, the more anxious you get. Yeah, I know why this happens. So it happens to everyone. One of the first things I want you to know is that it's completely normal. I've been doing marketing for 15 years. I've had my own business for 8. I work with business owners from, people just starting out to scale ups, like with marketing, full on marketing departments, and it still happens. So the reason it happens is because you stay in your head, basically. I'm going to detail that a bit more. But that is the gist of it. So whenever you have an idea, whenever we have an idea as spiritual entrepreneur, creative entrepreneur, just like as human being spiritual and creative, because we are human, really, you don't have to claim it or identify with that for that to be true. We tend to have an idea which comes from, somewhere, the universe, nature, God, however you want to call it, the energy of your business, your higher self. And usually the idea comes from the ether, something else, and it kind of downloads into you. And the next step usually that happens after like receiving the the offer or the creation that wants to come is your mind just like jumping on it like a starving tiger. That is literally the picture that came to my mind, like a starving tiger, and start to like want to plan every little detail of it. Just, this is going to happen, and then I'll do that, and then people will react this way, and then once I finish my landing page or sales page, like everything will just be so good. And you end up like maybe your brainstorming session probably with a million things to do, a to-do that's like a giant to-do. And that gets overwhelming because then when you go back to it, when you are grounded and you go back to your kind of day to day, you don't necessarily have this momentum going, especially if it's like a new offer. You have to keep it going, but you still have a life, you still have responsibilities, you still have other things that require your attention in your business. So that's when things start to go on the back burner because it just feels overwhelming because there are too many damn things on you to do, or because what you've been given, the project that has been entrusted to you, feels just so big that it just, you get like imposter syndrome, you start procrastinating, and then it's, before you know it, it's months, if not years, before you actually get done to do the work. And that is something I see so much with my clients and in the online business world in general. Just procrastination is not the problem. The problem is what's underneath. Because this is a video and I can't exactly know what's going on with you, I'm going to keep it quite general. But in general, it's just like there are so many fears that you need to unpack. But also the way to fight this, or to push, not to push through, but like to go through them, is to keep it simple. So a lot of the time, I work with people who tend to be perfectionists. And I wonder why I would attract them. Because I am a recovering one. I used to get like straight A's at school, and I always prided myself in being, very clever and, just receiving, teachers' praise and family's praise for my brain and all that. So it's led to, obviously it's great. I'm not complaining about that. I love my brain. But it also sometimes lead to a lot of anxieties. It's kind of like the blessing and the curse of being super smart, right? You can relate. So it means that I have sometimes this giant, I would have, it's a bit less now, still sometimes. Anyway, I would have like this giant idea or mountain and weight on my shoulders of what things should look like. And let me tell you that as someone who's been in marketing, for a while, and I went to business school and all of that, when I came out of business school, I was like, I know exactly what my business should look like. I had just gotten a master's in business management and an MSc in entrepreneurship. So, like on paper, like I knew my shit. When it came to like applying that for my own business, for my own content marketing business and coaching in marketing, I was just like so overwhelmed because what works for big companies was like a budget for marketing department or just resources to actually put together and implement a strategy will not work for me. I've since then discovered my human design and all that, so I'm gonna try and stay on topic here. But basically, we all have different energies. So what's working for your neighbor or your cousin's friend who just launched like a very successful business isn't going to work for you. And it's not because you're broken, it's just because the energy, like the strategy doesn't fit your energy. And that's okay, you know. So going back to my point from earlier, you need to keep it simple. You need to keep it so simple that taking action is reduced to something very actionable, very quick you can do. I always say you can actually build a business in as little as like 1 hour a day. Like, it is possible. For that, you need super crystal clear clarity on your marketing, on what you do, on how to explain that, and a focused plan of action. And you can actually do it. You know, is it the way I would do it? I probably would spend a bit more, like 2 to 3 hours a day, which is what I work on my business these days. But I would definitely not do like the 8 hours a day, because that's no, I just can't, physically can't. But keeping it simple doesn't mean that it's not good, you know. And actually, if you are someone, like I said, who, you know, self-identifies as a perfectionist, I challenge you to go for good enough. So instead of wanting to craft the perfect sales page for your new offer and spending literally like days, if not weeks, perfecting every little detail, I challenge you to just reach out to someone who you think might be a good fit for the offer and telling them exactly in a DM what this offer is about. Like, I've literally just done that for a workshop I'm having in person in the UK. And it just really helps with turning off the part of your brain that is trying to make everything perfect, because a lot of it is actually wrapping what you actually need to do, which is speaking about your offer, about your creation, into a whole lot of fluff, you know. And I'm not saying landing pages don't have their place. I do use them, but most of the time you don't actually need one, you know. Or if you need one, it doesn't have to be fancy. A Google Doc, perfect. So there's a balance to find here, and yeah, basically don't wait until you're ready, because you'll never feel ready. It will never feel like you've got all your shit together, that like your visuals are perfect, that you've got the perfect content calendar. Like, ugh, I do not work with content calendars, that they don't work with me. But if you can instead keep it simple and also take it day by day, this will make a massive difference in your business. Because instead of spending time planning and then getting anxious, and then you feel like you've already put so much energy into something, and when you finally dare to be brave and talk about it, you don't get the momentum you get, and then you just give up, and then you just go and rest because you've just spent a lot of energy on something that didn't work, and then you start again. That is the problem of stop and go patterns that I see in so many of my clients, okay? It doesn't work because you're exhausting yourself for nothing, basically. This is a bit of tough love that you probably need to hear if you blended here. So instead, you keep it simple. You really breaking down into the essence of the action you need to do. Maybe it's making a post on your Facebook. Maybe it's talking to your neighbor who has connection, you know, who could help you. Just like, it's very simple. Most actions that will actually move the needle in your business will not take you 5 days. Okay? Yes, take it day by day as well. So I've talked about energy before. I talk about energy all the time because this has to go first. But also in your business, as I said, it can get super overwhelming to have like a 3-year plan and a quarterly plan and all of that. And when it's good, I've kind of reached a place where I do like to have a rough outline, a rough structure in my head of how my year is going to look, like very rough, or how my month is going to look like. But this is by no means a necessity. And for some people it's great, for some people it just doesn't work, and that's fine. There is no one way to do business. And if there was, we'd knew about it, and everybody would be a billionaire with a business, okay? And super happy equally important, because being a billionaire while being burnt out and unhappy and alone, just no. So keep it simple and keep it day by day. So instead of making all these plans, we have a French expression that's faire des plans sur la comète, like literally making plans on the comet, on the star, shooting star, on the shooting star, which means like it's useless to make plans on something that's like very far off in the future that you can't actually control. So take it day by day, because I know it's so much harder to be present in your day to day and to actually check in with yourself, with your body, with your heart, with your connection with the above. It's so much harder, but that is what makes the difference. Not the plans that you make for 5 months from now or 5 weeks from now, okay? Yes, some things do require planning, but most things don't require that much planning. They require a lot of acting. And as I said, acting can be really quick. So the bravest thing you can do in your life and in your business is actually to check in day to day with the energy of what wants to happen. Connect with the energy of your business, connect with your higher self energy, your future self. As I said, whatever works for you, your guides, ask for guidance, ask for help. And from there, download your to-do list for the day. And I know it's very, very scary, because we like to have plans, because we like to have a sense of control, because our brains hate uncertainty. That's just how humans work. But if you break it down into daily tasks, A, it becomes way much more achievable, and B, you're so much more in flow with life. You're so much more in flow with what's alive within you, within your business. And that, my friend, is how you make miracles happen in your business. And if you'd like to see how concretely I do that in my own business, I've got a free resource for you, which is called the Magnetic Business Plan. So it's literally my 3-step daily ritual to attract clients with ease, which you can download for free. I'll put the link below. And yeah, it's like a very simple and easy PDF. You can use it on Google Doc, you can print it. And it's one of the tools that's very simple and that works. That's my jam. We don't need more complicated things that we're gonna end up being overwhelmed with and then feeling guilty for not using. So if you want a simple thing, this simple thing, go down below to grab it, and I'll see you in the next video.